All right, we are here, we are Galexis, and welcome. And welcome to the June 2021 blog. Today we want to emphasize that this year and this month is, in a sense, a continuation, a deepening, an expansion of what's been going on the previous month or so. The energies are moving. Their energies are becoming more intricate. There's more detail. There's a lot of shifts and a lot of changes. There's a lot of tune-ups. There's a lot of downloads. There's a lot of upgrades. There's a lot of stuff going on all sorts of different levels. And if you notice, there's a lot of changes and a lot of political stuff going on around the world. There's a lot of suffering. There's a lot of people, marching and objecting and fighting and governments and shifting and changing. There's just a lot going on. It's part of this visionary kind of a year when people are starting to feel the reach back of the future. The dream that you're moving towards, the future that you're moving towards is reaching back to you. And so it's speeding things up. It's moving things forward, okay? Don't resist. Like we talked to you last month. Don't resist. No, instead, just let all this energy move through you. Accept it through your body. Let it move through and out. Don't bring it into your body and resist it and fight it. Don't unconsciously run away, escape. Distract yourself. Get lost in details, in processes of your daily life. Don't feel behind. Don't call in the slave driver to push yourself harder and faster. No, don't resist it. Let it flow through you. And also, the most important thing is for you to remain aware and conscious during this flow, right? Because if you resist, or if it becomes a bit too much for you, you can kind of go unconscious. And the way people do that, one of the ways that's very common, is that people's minds wander. They get distracted by something, you wander, oh, that's more interesting, I'll go over there. Or they basically just escape to do something, like the one who channels us, she does. When she gets this into that kind of, oh, there's just too much to think about, let me think about it, she'll do free cell solitaire on her computer. And as she's doing that, in a sense, it grounds her, and then she starts thinking about stuff and working things through. But at the same time, it's an escape from really, taking some action or really moving forward on something. And so, what's very important about this is that there's a tendency for you to do this unconsciously, habitually, automatically. You learned how to do this when you were a child, okay, and you had no power. You could not decide exactly what you wanted to do all the time. You didn't have control over your life. Your parents did, or your guardians. And so where it came to power, you didn't have any personal power. The adults had it, the grown-ups, okay? So essentially, because you were powerless and there was no way you knew how to even object, you really sometimes didn't even know what you wanted to do. It was like, oh wow, life is just coming at me and coming at me and coming at me. Okay, you just found a way out. You learned how to escape. You learned how to wander off attention-wise. A lot of children become ADD because there's so much going on and their senses are so hypersensitive that it's an overload. So they learn how to run away mentally from things. But of course, what this tends to do is keep them from having a focus and achieving stuff. So when you get grown up and you wander off, you can berate yourself and judge yourself because you haven't gotten anything done, that you haven't achieved anything, you haven't, really been productive, and you haven't done anything. And you can really get hard on yourself about that. You can feel guilty. Oh, I really should take care of this thing, and there's a deadline. I have to push myself now. I don't really want to do it, but I'm going to do it. I got to do it, and bad me that I'm not doing it, that I'm running away. Oh dear, what am I going to do? At some point I'm going to have to do it. And people can go through all sorts of mental loops and craziness over all the energies that are going on, feeling very guilty, judging themselves, feeling inadequate, calling in on some old energies of shame, and all that kind of stuff. That's like what we talked about last time. Well, the key here this month, we would say, because after things are moving fast for a good length of time, some people are able to handle it by push drive. They can handle it with the slave driver, but others, it becomes too difficult to do, and they start escaping, and they start going into knee-jerk automatic reaction response. Okay, now if you find yourself doing this, we would suggest that it means that you are taking a pattern that you learned in childhood, perhaps tweaked it and developed it a bit and expanded it in adolescence and young adulthood. But it's not a pattern that's working for you. It doesn't mean that you have to be dedicated and vigilant and follow through and stay focused, stay doing it, do it. No. You've got to do it by your choice. You've got to do it freely. You've got to be able to do it consciously if you want to be on your spiritual path and find your life improving. So here's what we suggest that you do. When you find yourself restless, you don't want to deal with something, it's bothering you, it's overwhelming you or something, stop, pause, and say, okay, I give myself permission to procrastinate. I give myself permission to escape now. I'm going to, and using the channels example, I'd say, okay, I give myself permission to go and do free cell solitaire now. You give yourself permission to escape. You give yourself permission out of the authority of your being consciously to escape, consciously to procrastinate, consciously to do anything that you do, whether it's goofing off, quote unquote, hanging out on the sofa watching TV, or just eating some food that your comfort food. You're going to need to give yourself permission to do it and not do it unconsciously. Now, if you're saying, wait a minute, those are bad habits. I don't want to consciously choose those bad habits. We would say, of course, you're right. You're not consciously choosing your bad habits, but you're consciously choosing to do them in the moment because you're consciously choosing your life moment by moment. If after you consciously choose to escape, consciously choose to eat your comfort food or goof off in front of the TV or play a computer game through the night, whatever it is that you choose to do, that in the past you would have judged yourself for doing, when you choose to do it, you are remaining a conscious person of power. Now we have to emphasize this because your spiritual path is about remembering and reclaiming the spiritual being that you are, who is currently having this embodied experience. And the way to get there is to be conscious and aware of who you are. Be aware of every choice, of every action, that it is chosen by you in your power, that you're not doing it just automatically, that you're not running away unconsciously. Run away consciously. And here's the kicker, is because if you do that, if you consciously eat that comfort food that you think, oh, this is bad for me, I shouldn't eat all this chocolate or sugar or whatever, that if you let go of the judgment and say, I choose to do this now, I want to do it, there's this emotion, I just crave this, to eat this right now, I want to eat this right now, I know what emotionally I want to do this, I'm going to do this, and you do it consciously, you'll find out whether you really need to do it or not. You may be able to break your habit. You may be able even to digest that comfort food better. The options are amazing, and your life can be so much easier and friendlier when you're conscious in your choices. And then you can make a conscious choice not to next time. Last time I ate all that fudge, and I just was sick to my stomach and I gained 3 pounds. I just don't want to go through that again, so I'm not going to eat fudge today. You see, now you're in your power. Now you know what you're doing and why. Okay, this gives you a tremendous edge. So in order for you to be able to live consciously, you need to realize that over time, with every detail of life, you're going to let go of that which is not congruent and in alignment with who you really are, and do more and gain more of that which is in alignment and with alignment with your truth and who you really are. And to do that, you need to kind of get an idea of who you are and who you're not. And you can do it by feel. You'll sense it. You'll know when you're doing something that is not true to you. It doesn't feel good. Pay attention. Be conscious. Be conscious that the intention behind things that you do may have to do with, for example, maintaining your ego facade, appearing a certain way to other people, or maintaining some kind of reputation or idea of yourself. And it may also be getting approval and validation from other people, or, and this is the most insidious one, is getting approval and a validation from your internalized parent self. Your internalized parent judges you, tries to whip you into shape, tries to tells you what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, criticizes you. Okay, so if you have a really loud internal parent, then you may be in rebellion against that parent, and your escape may be from that parent. Many of you we've talked to know about the inner slave driver, and when you give up the inner slave driver and find your true motivation, you found that the slave driver has automatically been judging you and kicking you into and activating you out of fear and guilt to do stuff that is not congruent for you, that you don't really want to do, but you think you must do, or else you're not a good person, or else you're not an achiever, or else you're not going to ever be accepted or prove yourself or be valuable. So pay attention to the intention that underlies your sense of awareness of yourself. If you have shame about yourself, if you don't think highly of yourself, of course, you're going to have a battle between your internal child self and your internal parent self. And the child self will inevitably rebel, resist, run away, but still remain powerless. So take your power back. Take your power back from your internal parent. Take your power back from people who you want to please or impress. And all you have to do is say, power, return to me. Because you gave that power away, bring it back. Power, return to me. Know your facade. Know what your ego is up to. If you're not very clear about it, we recommend that you take the seminar that we did a couple of months ago on your ego facade and clearing that. Stay in your power and stay in choice. Because when you're on automatic and unconscious, you're powerless. And when you're powerless, universe can't do anything for you. Your universe is your friend and wants to support you, wants to assist you, wants to help you create the reality that you want, the life that you want to live. Okay? So when you have the power of choice, when you own who you are as a divine being having a physical experience, when you own your power and you make your decisions of what you're going to do, the universe is your friend and it will rush in to assist you. When you give your power away, the universe stops and waits. Waits for you to make a choice. All right? Now, you can make a choice and claim a choice and get onto a program. You want to get this done. You want to create that reality, etc., etc., and you're in power and you're in choice, universe starts to work, things start to move. And for those of you who've taken the Magical Money Manifestation seminars, you will always come across, in your manifestation work, you'll come across a test. The test is the unconscious mind says, huh? Is this what you want? What? Are you sure? Are you loopy? Did you just jump off a cliff somewhere or what? What's wrong with you? You're doing something you've never done before. And you just have to forgive yourself if you've fallen for it and gone unconscious. But for the most part, when you see a test, a snapback or a resistance from your reality, forgive yourself, say, uh-oh, I basically lost my power of choice. So let me get back in there. It doesn't mean that you're a failure. It doesn't mean you're stupid or anything. So when you are able to handle the test, forgive yourself and reassert and recommand and absolutely demand this new way, this new choice, empowered choice, then the energies will flow again. The universe can help you. Magic can happen. Your life can get easier. And as you get freer and freer of all your automatic knee-jerk responses to things, all the unconsciousness, and you become conscious and you make conscious choices even about goofing off or eating chocolate cake, whatever. As you make those choices consciously, you step into and engage your free will. So you don't have a capacity to have a free will until you're free. You have to be free of the unconscious automatic habits. To the extent that you are free of them, you can engage your free will. Now, free will is the greatest gift that the God, Goddess, all that is, has given you. It's the whole point of this particular universe that you're in. It's a universe in which you grow up spiritually, owning who you are, taking your power, making choices so that you can become God and divine yourself. Okay? This is your path, because who are you really? You're a divine being. You just are not conscious of it. The more you become conscious, the more that you can make choices based on the truth of who you are. And when you make those choices out of this knowing, you're in your free will. And when you're in your free will, your choices are God's will. You're not here to submit and surrender and wait for God to tell you what to do. That keeps you essentially and spiritually as a child. And your relationship to God would be that God would be this loving parent. Oh, my dear child. Or critical parent, judgmental parents. To hell with you. So don't put God on that kind of parental kind of placement. God got us all that is. The divine wants you as, yes, originally as its child, to grow up and be also God got us all that is yourself. That's your spiritual path. That's the goal of each, you might say. So your free will is also the divine will. Let this month be your time to choose. Choose this freedom. Choose to own your power and engage your free will. Let this month enable you to activate and energize this flow, this beautiful, powerful flow. Harness this speedy, expansive, dynamic flow that's going on the planet right now and available to you. Remember the 4 pinions, the 4 pillars of your truer or more empowered self, and that is that you have personal freedom to be yourself, and you claim that, known that. You love yourself and you love others, and you express love, you receive love. You have power and you are empowered, and you own your power. You retrieve your power from whomever you gave it, and you radiate as a powerful person. And finally, and the most tricky one for everyone, is that when you get into your free will, when you get into the power of your choice, you then can rely upon your spiritual team, universe as your friend, to support you and assist you to create the reality that you want. You can trust that it will be done. It is your free will. So as it is a decree from the divine, it is from you, it will be done. Your will be done, and your will is the divine will. Trust it. Rely on it. Let yourself know the universe will support you as long as you are in choice and in your power and in your love and in your freedom. Those 4 pillars, when you are there, the universe supports you, and it will amplify the flow and make your life easier. It will enable more opportunities to come. It will enable more light in your life, more love in your life, more freedom and power in your life. Now, this year is a very exciting year. As we briefly mentioned, it's a visionary kind of year. There's a lot of energies percolating of the future that are percolating, that are coming in. They're like precipitating down in little raindrops. The future is sending little love messages to the present to pull you to that future that you came to create and to experience. So ahead of you in this year, there are so many beautiful windows or portals, more portals of light, more windows of opportunity, more potentials, more potency, more amazing stuff available for you. So much is ahead. You want to take advantage of it. You won't have it if you are not conscious, if you're not in your power. You can't really use them. They might just blow your circuits. So stand in your power and in your choice and allow the love to move you towards these fabulous opportunities and marvelous synchronicities of magic that are available to you on the way to this beautiful future this year. We wish you the very best. We hope that you can step into your free will and get the bliss and the joy that is part of that experience. Knowing more of who you are, being more of who you are, and therefore succeeding more in creating the life that you are here to create. Thank you, dear ones. Farewell.